I am Aaron.
And I'm Mitch.
And you're listening to the Moderately Interesting Podcast.
Play the theme song. Hello.
Hey, what's up?
And welcome to the Moderately Interesting Podcast. Sponsored by one of the 23 ingredients of Dr. Pepper.
Oh.
One of not Dr. Pepper. It's not sponsored by Dr. Pepper. One of the 23 ingredients. We don't know which one though, because
I cannot
the ingredients they are confidential. So they have not released the flavors, and until then, we don't know which one is our sponsor. So
yeah.
Have you tried the dark berry Dr. Pepper?
I have not. Other than Dr. Pepper, the only one that I've tried is Dr. Pepper Cherry and Dr. Pepper Cherry Zero.
This one's like the Jurassic Park limited edition.
Oh, okay. Is it good?
It's good, yeah.
Is it good?
Burp. It's good. It's got like a nice berry. It's got a dark berry to it. I don't know which dark berry, but one of the darker berries. What were we talking about today?
Well, Mitch, today we are going to be talking about the season finale, the series finale of the Kenobi show.
Obi
Wan Kenobi.
Szechuan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, kick us off. Where do you want to start?
I want to start with what did you think of the finale? What do you rate it? How did you like it? What do you give the series overall? Mm-hmm. Is it worth to even watch the finale?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Let's start with how did we like... I feel like we should start with how do we like the series altogether and then go to the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did you like the series?
I enjoyed the series a lot.
What would you rate it?
With the finale, I think the finale brings it up like a whole point. So I'd give it like a 9.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot higher than I'm going to go.
Okay.
But that's good. I think without the finale, I would give it like a 6. And with the finale, I would give it like a 7.5.
Okay.
7.5. And I think we went over it last time, but those are still the same problems. I think, sorry, my dog is breathing into the microphone because there's a thunderstorm going on, and he's got the panics going on. So
the panic attack.
Panic attack, yeah. But I give it 7.5. I think that final episode I'd do like a 9. Yeah. But I think most for the whole series, I think most of it was just kind of like the whole Reva storyline just kind of was unnecessary, and just it's like I could have just done with 3 episodes of what happened between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan, but that's just me.
Sure.
So, and that's kind of why I give it a lower score. It's just kind of dull at times, and it's like, let's get to the good stuff here. We know we all kind of knew what was coming, I think. Did you have a feeling that there was? I feel like they hinted at it pretty obviously
last time for the finale.
Yeah.
And I did remember going like, "Oh yeah, Obi-Wan's gonna stomp on Vader."
Mm-hmm. That's the trick with prequel, any kind of a prequel series, is you usually know like Obi-Wan's gonna end up fine. We know he's not gonna die.
Right.
And for the most part, we know he's not missing any limbs in A New Hope, so there's not really much at stake with him
What if
or
we
Darth
like
Vader.
found out that like in the finale like Obi-Wan like lost his like foot
Yeah,
like in the lightsaber fight? We just never knew that he like had a bionic foot for like the rest
because
of the
he's wearing
series.
he's wearing his robe most of the time.
Yeah, because he's wearing a robe. Like, yeah, what if we just like didn't know? Like, yeah, like
They
what if?
I mean, we didn't know he had some crazy burns all over his arms and shoulder from
Yeah,
Darth Vader
exactly.
dragging him through the fire.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it could have ended differently.
could have
Could have been a win for Vader. Did they fight? Did they fight 3 times or 2 times in this series?
2 times.
So they've fought 3 times total.
They fought. No,
Revenge
they
of the
fought
Sith.
4. Yeah, twice
Oh,
in
total
Obi-Wan.
4. 4 would be total, I guess. Up to this point, though,
Yeah,
3 times.
3 times.
So the finale is their final meetup before they. Oh, as far as we know.
As far as we know, who knows?
Until
Maybe
A
there
New
might
Hope.
be another time.
Yep.
I don't think so, but
Yeah. What do you rank this episode?
this episode, yeah, this episode I would probably give it like a 9. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
a
would
good
have cut
one.
like a few things out just to make it a little faster, but yeah.
Yeah. I
Yep.
was kind of confused with what Reva was doing. I was like, is she trying to kill Luke or is she trying to you'd think she would like take him to Vader and be like, this is your kid.
Well, she didn't know that was Vader's kid.
Oh, what did the transmission say?
All the so it's a transmission from the last episode that she saw, where it's just like, "Hey, I haven't heard from you for a while, so I'm just like, if I don't hear back from you, I'm gonna go to Tatooine and protect the boy, like go out, like
Right.
protect the boy, and like that's it. She has no context to what the boy, like who the boy is or why the boy is important or anything like that.
Well, she didn't know Leia was his daughter. No one knows
Right.
that they're his kids.
Nobody knows that. Yeah.
They just know. She just knew that Obi-Wan had fought
She just knew
alongside Organa.
that for whatever reason, Leia and Obi-Wan are important to, Obi-Wan.
Right.
So.
Okay, that makes sense. It's hard to like watch that and like knowing that there's kids and to get that stuff confused. For me, at least, I'm like, oh, she knows that it's his kid, and then really she doesn't. I'm putting words into her mouth that didn't actually, or into his mouth that didn't actually happen. So, well, let's talk about the final fight because that was definitely like the high point of the episode and the series, and I would say, personally, a high point for Star Wars in this decade.
Yeah.
Very high.
So, yeah, why don't you take it away first, then, my friend?
All right. Well, I'll just share my thoughts. We have like they're kind of going back and forth. They're throwing rocks at each other. I don't need to go over. I don't need to summarize the thing. But what I kind of came out of that with was that Anakin and Obi-Wan are, to me, the heart and soul of what Star Wars is. And for me, it made the prequels, I don't know if it like better is the more important, I would say, because you get that relationship between the two of them. And it just kind of like, it's just like built, it's the best relationship in Star Wars, I would say. They look at each other like brothers, or at least Obi-Wan looked at Anakin like a brother, and Anakin thought whatever he thought, but for me, it's what drives Star Wars for me, and that's kind of moving forward into like chronological time. That's kind of what lacked for me in the sequel trilogy was just there wasn't that driving point. There wasn't an Anakin and Obi-Wan type of
Dynamic.
relationship. Yeah,
Yeah.
for me. So it to me it just like reinforced that. I was like, man, I missed this, and
Yeah.
I took it for granted when it was here.
Right.
So makes me appreciate them more. And I mean, bad lines and too much CGI put aside, it's a good story and good character development in just iconic people that we're talking about. So yeah, what did you think?
So before I go into what I want to say, I want to do the question that we have,
Mhm.
and I found this question on Quora.
Quora.
Quora. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Quora or not. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Actually, I've never said it out loud until now.
It's like a
Uh,
quarry where you find questions
yes.
instead of rocks.
So
Quora.
let's just kind of go over this question and answer it,
Yeah.
both of us, um, which was by Penny the Hoarder, I guess. Uh, was Obi-Wan a bad master to Anakin?
Hmm. That's a good question.
What do you think?
I don't think he was a bad master because I just think it's too much of a subjective question. I don't think there's like a factual answer to this.
Right.
It's like is that a bad? It's like when people try and critique parents. It's like you don't know what's going on.
Right.
You just saw little kid get spanked in the grocery store. It doesn't mean kids getting beat in the hat. You know what I mean? You don't know what all is included in that.
Right.
And but I would say like Obi-Wan is just like we're going D&D right here. I would say
Hmm.
he's a what are the what is it called? It was like chaotic good, lawful
The
good, is that
alignment.
right?
Yeah.
Alignment, yeah. So if
So
I were to
lawful.
like give an alignment to Obi-Wan, he would be like as far good as possible. Like he's just
Uh huh.
always trying to do the right thing. He kind of reminds me of like
Hmm.
a Captain America, that
Okay.
type of personality, like lawful, like he obeys the Jedi law, like almost to a fault, and then and he's just always looking after. I think he took Anakin's training very seriously, but then Anakin is just kind of a basket case on his own, and that's where we
Hmm.
have problems. It's like you can have a troubled kid and a good parent, and how that kid turns out isn't 100% based on the parent. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I would say yes for me, but it could vary.
Wait. So yes, he was a bad master.
No, sorry. Yes, he was a good master. No, he was
Yes.
not
Okay. Yeah.
he was
No, he was
he
not
was
a bad
he
master.
was
Gotcha.
not a bad master. He was a good master.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I think
Gotcha.
you can look at him like a parent, I think he tried his
Yeah.
best and he didn't know what was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He let Anakin
Yeah.
make his own decisions, and ultimately it was Anakin, in my opinion, breaking the Jedi law or whatever, having a relationship with Padme that kind of pushed him over the edge.
Okay.
If he would have been more open to talk about, if he would have been able to talk to like the Jedi Council about it,
Hmm.
I don't think it would have happened the way it did because he was like hiding this secret relationship and having these visions, and it's like Obi-Wan didn't know that was going on.
Hmm.
How's he supposed to know that's going on? So
I don't know. I don't know.
yeah. What do you think? What's your answer?
Okay. Yeah, I want to do this question because that's going to get into my opinions, thoughts, and like this. And the way I answer it's going to lead into my thoughts and opinions on the finale.
Yeah.
Um, so it was Obi-Wan a bad master for Anakin? The answer is no, of course not. He wasn't a bad master. But was Obi-Wan the best master for Anakin? So I'm going to change the question a little bit.
Mhm.
And the answer is no. Obi-Wan shouldn't have been Anakin's master to begin with.
Right.
It should have been Qui-Gon Jinn.
Hmm.
And that's why so now we go back to episode 1 for a second. That's why the fight between Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan is titled the Duel of Fates.
Yeah.
because whose fate is on the line of this duel? It's Anakin's.
Right.
If Qui-Gon wins, that duel, um, Darth Maul is defeated. The Council promotes Obi-Wan immediately to a Jedi Knight for helping defeat a Sith,
Mm-hmm.
and Qui-Gon will take Anakin to be his apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
If Maul somehow beats Anakin or beats Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, then right away Anakin falls into the hands of the dark side.
Right.
And then the outcome that we got was Qui-Gon dies, Darth Maul gets defeated, and Obi-Wan wins.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that seals the fate, because Qui-Gon is that father figure that Anakin never had growing up.
Right.
And so you see that right away. Anakin has that like respect and that
Yeah, because
almost-
Obi-Wan doesn't really meet him
right.
until he gets back to the ship, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so had Qui-Gon, because Qui-Gon was this, he was like this radical, like as far as the Jedi were concerned. He very much played fast and loose with the Jedi code. He didn't believe it was this dogma, and you know he's the first one that realizes that there's a problem with the galaxy, with the Jedi, but the Jedi are too rigid and they're too stuck in their ways that they don't realize that there's a problem until Revenge of the Sith, when they're like, oh,
Right.
like our ability to see the Force has been diminished.
It's
Or,
clouded.
that might be an Attack of the Clones that they realize that.
Right.
But like Qui-Gon is so, because he doesn't follow this rigid dogma. He's actually what the Jedi are supposed to be. He's like the last true Jedi in a way. And
Right.
so if he got to teach Anakin that, Anakin would have been way better off, because he would have had that father figure that he wanted to. He would have been able to go to Qui-Gon with these troubles that he has when he's older.
That's a really, really good insight.
And
that,
and then
yeah.
to go further into that, we see that in Attack of the Clones, because when we see Attack of the Clones, we see Obi-Wan as the master and Anakin as the apprentice, and that relationship is it's almost hostile, right? Like,
Yeah.
at times, it looks like they hate each other almost,
Mhm.
like, and Obi-Wan, why are you going to be the death of me someday?
Mhm.
And then like Anakin, just really, like when he's talking to Padme, he's he's belittling me. He talks down to me. He doesn't understand. He never understands.
Well, that kind of ties into what I said, how they viewed each other as brothers. Like, it was
Right.
not a father-son relationship;
Right,
it was a
'cause-
brother relationship.
Yeah, and then
And they both had the same father, and you know,
Obi-Wan is trying to be that father figure that
yeah,
like he can't
that
be.
Qui-Gon was for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And he just can't be that. He's not old enough. He's not experienced enough to be that father figure that Anakin needs.
right.
And so when he steps into that role, Anakin kind of, almost resents it in a way.
Mhm.
And it's not until the Clone Wars where Anakin is now a Jedi Knight, a full-fledged Jedi Knight, and
Mhm.
he's doing these missions with Obi-Wan, and now they become brother. They're more, there's more of a comrades in arms. They're more brotherly. Do we see that relationship really, take off and become,
Right.
they're much more amicable together. They're much more, like
You're
they
you're
tease
talking,
each other.
yeah,
But
and you're
it's a
talking
much healthier
years,
relationship, because that's the relationship that they were supposed to be.
right?
And if Qui-Gon had trained Anakin, and in a way they would have been brothers, right? Because
Yeah,
or Qui-Gon trained Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon would have trained Anakin. That would have made them kind of like brothers to
right.
begin with, because they would have had that same father figure.
Yeah,
Um,
that's very
So-
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had not thought about that. Now, here's a side question,
yeah,
just a fast one, because you could go, it could be anything. But if
right.
Phantom Menace was made in today's day and age, aka Disney,
Uh-huh.
would Qui-Gon have survived that stab?
No. I don't think it has anything to do with Disney or anything like that. It's
No,
something that has
it's
to
just like a
happen.
joke question.
Right.
because we've
it's
now
something that
seen
has to
like
happen because Anakin doesn't get that father figure in Qui-Gon,
yeah,
and he doesn't want it in Obi-Wan. What does he do? He tries to find it somewhere else. And where does he find that in Palpatine?
right.
He finds it in Palpatine. Palpatine, Anakin, you're great. You're like the most powerful Jedi. Any day now, you're going to be a Jedi Master. Blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And so that's what makes the seducing to the dark side all the more like
And
heartbreaking
Anakin
for
goes to
Anakin.
him to all of his problems.
Yep,
He's like, I've seen,
because he thought he had
all
this
these
father
dreams,
figure.
and
He thought he had this father figure. Then it turns out this guy is just using him,
right,
and then he gets
using and
trapped. And
abusing.
then, yeah, there's a lot of layers to Anakin's fall, right? And then obviously in Return of the Jedi, Anakin has to step up at that moment and be the father figure that he never had. He has to be that father figure, that protector for Luke. So
Yeah,
he becomes the father that he never had by protecting Luke.
right.
So um
That's very
so
interesting.
that yeah. And
Yeah.
so because Qui-Gon and Qui-Gon would have taught Anakin to love is fine, right?
Mhm.
Everybody loves. And
Yeah.
we know Obi-Wan has fallen in love. We know that Anakin has fallen in love. And in the old Legends novels, like Qui-Gon had like a loved one too, like a woman that he was in love with that he
Mhm.
never really got to go. So he would have been able to help Anakin a lot more because he would have been a lot more open about that.
Right.
And going back to now taking that back to Kenobi, because I'm like all tongue tied right now. But love, it turns out, is like a key aspect of the Force that the Jedi deny themselves of.
Right.
They don't allow love. They don't allow love. Now, what they fear is what happens to Anakin. They fear the possession because that's what happens to Anakin. Anakin becomes very possessive of Padme,
Mhm.
and you see that in Revenge of the Sith, but you see that in Clone Wars too, where he's just very possessive and he's jealous.
Mhm.
When Padme has other male figures in her life.
Right. And you
But
kind of do you feel like you see that first? Well, not first, but do you feel like you see that with his mom as well? I'm just curious because
it's very similar to that. Obviously, it's a different type of love, but
yeah,
I think what Star Wars is saying is, regardless of the type of love, love in general is something that a person needs in their life.
right.
Um, but like, yeah, it can like love is this double-edged coin, right? Like it can be dangerous.
Right.
But like at the heart of the matter is a Jedi needs to have love. They need to have compassion. You can't be
Mhm.
compassionate without loving a person.
Right.
Um, and so because I feel like Obi-Wan learns that lesson in Kenobi, but only kind of, right?
Yeah.
Because in the original trilogy, what do Obi-Wan and Yoda say to Luke? He's gone. He's more machine than man. He can't be saved, right?
Right.
But it's Luke's love for Anakin that saves him. That saves Anakin.
Mhm.
It's the love of his son, and by proxy of that, it's Anakin's love for Padme that brings him out of the dark side. That saves him,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's what saves him.
It is such
Um,
a deep story when you look at it
yeah,
like that. Like,
yeah.
take all the fighting and all the flashy this and that out of there, and spaceships and everything. It's like there's
Mhm.
such just a good story there.
Right.
It's really good.
And
And
so
then
then, so going back to Kenobi, when when Vader buries him under the rocks,
yeah,
buries him under, and he buries him and he's trying to like what Vader's doing. He's trying to suffocate him,
mhm,
like Obi-Wan did to him on Mustafar, how he
right,
suffocated him with lava. But what is it that saves Obi-Wan in that experience? It's he knows what he's fighting for. It's because
mhm,
he loves Anakin, so by proxy he loves Luke and Leia, and
mhm.
he wants to protect them. He wants to do whatever he can for them, and so he kind of, in video game terms, he
Their
levels
family.
up. He learns that skill,
Mhm,
and uses that love. And when he uses that love, it's the most powerful we've ever seen Obi-Wan in the whole canon
right,
of Star Wars. All of a sudden his force powers are multiplied. He's throwing all
right.
of these rocks, right?
It kind of reminded
And
me of like Harry Potter when
mhm,
like the Patronus, when they're casting a
right,
Patronus and they have to get all the negative, dark thoughts out of their head and think of something that brings them joy, and that's what ultimately gets it levels them up, and that's in that
Right.
moment, it
Right.
lets them overcome what is hitting them, whether
Right.
it's rocks or dementors.
And going back to this, right? So we start off Kenobi, and Kenobi is this like frail
Like a
old
shell.
man. Well, I mean, not
Yeah,
frail, but like
he's
right.
broken.
He's broken, and his connection to the Force is zero. He has no. His connection is strained. It has no power behind it, and that's why Vader just whomps on him in like episode 2 or whatever it is, right?
Right.
And then in episode 3, episode 4, Obi Wan finally accepts who he is, accepts his responsibility, and he's able to use the Force again.
Yeah.
Okay, but kind of going back to that, in episode, he's trying to contact Qui-Gon, and people are like, I can't believe it's been this long, and he still hasn't been able to contact Qui-Gon. And it's like, yeah, because that's the point of the show so far, right? So he's low, he's broken, he's not using the Force, he's back to his old ways, he's the Jedi Knight again, he's the Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, but it's not until he accepts that love in the finale, and is he able to meet Qui-Gon again?
Right.
Because he's saying it's okay that I miss you. It's okay that I acknowledge, that you were like I loved you as like this father figure in my life, because I didn't have that. And and they talk about that earlier, how he was like, I think I had a brother, I think I had a family,
Right.
but he doesn't love them because his brother
He
is
didn't really
Anakin.
know
And,
him.
yeah, because he didn't know them, right? But his father is Qui-Gon, and his brother that he thinks he had, that's Anakin. Those are that's his actual family.
Right.
So
It brings such a more like relatable feel to Star Wars when they focus on the relationships like this, because
right.
you think about, like, in your own life, like, you know who would I die for, who would I fight to
Mm-hmm.
the end for, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it is because you have love built into those relationships that you would do that for somebody,
Right.
or that you
Exactly.
would, that you can overcome those obstacles, I guess, to save lives, or whatever it is, protect,
Right.
provide, all that stuff. So
Right.
that's really, really, really deep stuff, man. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. My question about Qui-Gon getting stabbed was kind of a joke. It was more like
Right.
they don't seem to die anymore when they get stabbed in the gut.
Yeah. I mean,
Unfortunately, it's or shot, like the what's her name on Boba Fett.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
but yeah,
I know the Grand Inquisitor. I believe like in canon, it's like he has like 2 stomachs,
uh-huh.
like that.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of people survive a lot of different injuries, I guess, in Star Wars. So it's, yeah. Um, you're cutting out a little bit. We may have lost Aaron. Aaron. He's frozen. He's frozen in time. Talking about Darth Vader has frozen him. Oh, there we go. You're back. Nope, now you're not back. It's just me now. I'll share this because this is what I want to talk about now. Oh, he's back. Now he's back. There you are.
Okay. Back.
Welcome back.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I
What were
want
you
to talk
saying?
about though. I just said I want to talk about now, like the big scene in Kenobi that we
Yes.
kind of danced around right now.
Let's want me to share my little graphic here, or my little
Yeah,
screen?
let's do it.
Boom. Is this the
There
one
it
you're
is.
talking
Yeah.
about? It
Yep.
doesn't say it doesn't have the quote on there that I wanted it to say, but we can just improvise. So
Right.
yeah, the fight, right?
The big fight, and then we
It's
get
more like the end of the fight.
the end of the it's the end of the fight, but we get the face reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I mean, they very clearly were inspired by, took notes by. I wonder, I even wonder if Dave Filoni gave any advice when it came to shooting this scene.
Yeah.
But because this is very clearly, mirroring the season 2 finale of Rebels with Ahsoka.
Right.
Um,
That's
did you
where
watch that?
yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay.
She cuts the other side of the face, right?
Right. Yeah. So
Or the
I
helmet.
believe she cuts the left side, or Obi-Wan cuts the left side, and she cuts the right side of his face.
Right. And I've heard the parallels with Luke too.
Right.
And how Luke is the ultimate, kind of going back to what we were talking about. Luke is the ultimate. He brings Anakin back. He takes the whole.
He gets the whole mask off.
Yeah.
They get the right side off, or Obi-Wan gets the right side off, Ahsoka gets the left side off,
Mhm.
but Luke gets the whole mask off. And
Right.
the other thing that's interesting too is I don't know if it's meant to be like this, but Luke doesn't force it off. Luke doesn't fight his way to get it off.
Right.
Again, Luke takes it off because of that love.
He wants
we were
to see
talking
his dad's
about.
face
Yeah.
before his dad
Yep.
dies. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I do wonder if they're saying symbolically, is it possible that if Obi-Wan and Ahsoka were together, would they have been able to bring Anakin back? I
Right.
don't know. Maybe. Right. It's a possibility. I don't know though.
Because they both had different relationships with him and could have.
Right.
Yeah. I do like going back to what you were saying, though. I do think that there is something big with Anakin not having a father figure. It was more of
Mhm.
it was more like he was, constantly fighting with his siblings rather than, and then finding that father figure in Palpatine was where everything went downhill.
Right.
And yeah, very very cool stuff. But let's
Yeah.
talk about the part where he says, "You didn't kill Anakin."
He
I
goes,
did.
"I am not your failure, Obi-Wan."
Right. I'm gonna see if it's on here somewhere, but keep going.
Yeah, and then obviously
There it
the
is.
way that they play with the lights in that scene is super fun and super
Uh,
cool. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did, is what he says.
right.
Now I don't think that's Vader talking. Oh, you have it right there on the
That it's more of a meme, but it's
yeah. But you can see right there, you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I
yeah.
did. But you can see that there's
The blue
although
and the red.
there's still red on his face, it's primarily blue.
Yeah.
So I think right there, that's actually because and this happens in Rebels 2 with Ahsoka, where Anakin actually comes out for a second, and I
Mhm.
think this is Anakin talking with because it's the blue, of like, I'm not your failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. That's Anakin talking, and he's trying to alleviate that guilt that Obi-Wan feels in that moment.
Right. And it is a little bit of his love showing up,
Hmm.
coming
Yeah,
out
exactly.
for Obi-Wan, for Ahsoka at that moment. Yeah.
Right.
I love that because I remember when I first watched it, it just was like so dark and my first thought was that's Darth Vader. And I
Hmm.
think it almost feels like Obi-Wan took it that way because when he leaves, he says goodbye, Darth, but I
Right.
think he also is somewhat alleviated from feeling like that was his fault. I think
Right.
it did what Anakin wanted it to do, but at the same time, Obi-Wan still kind of took it like you're gone,
Right. Well, because
and that's why. Yeah,
right
sorry.
after the scene,
Hmm.
the red just intensifies and it covers his face, and he goes, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did," and then it just glows red. The same way I will destroy you, right?
Right,
And that's how Anakin. That's when Obi-Wan realizes like I can't reach Anakin anymore. Anakin is gone.
right,
So
and he kind of, in a way, he is at the time.
yeah,
It
yeah,
takes more than Obi-Wan to bring him back.
yeah. I would love for this is the kind of thing that I think like you could probably do with a TV show, but it would be way better as a book, as a
Yeah,
novel, where I want to see, and I don't know exactly how it would work because I know there are Vader comics out, and they
Mhm.
kind of deal with this kind of thing too. But I would love to be able to do like a novel where it's Vader is the main character, sometime in between episode 3 and episode 4, where we get to delve into the psyche of Vader,
Mhm.
and how like Vader and Anakin are two different personas. Like it's not just like Vader really considers himself to be a different person from Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
It's not like like, oh, like, yeah, it's like a completely split personality kind of a thing.
Yeah.
um, and I don't think
It's like a constant battle too. It's not like one overtakes the other. It's like they're always fighting each other too inside.
right, but Vader is firmly in the driver's seat at the
Yes,
same
for
time.
sure. Yeah.
Because there is a comic book where like it shows like the internal fight of
Yeah.
Vader and Anakin,
Right.
and it's basically like over and over and over and over again they're lightsaber fighting,
Mhm.
Vader versus Anakin, and over again Vader killed Anakin.
Right.
Like brutally killing Anakin. Um, and so like, but I would love to like delve into that psyche. And you could do that in a Vader show, and I think 99% of people would prefer a Darth Vader show than a Darth Vader book. But I
Right.
would be in that 1% that's like, no, give me like a big Darth Vader book where I want to read about that, and see
Mhm.
that, delve into his psyche a little bit more.
There's like, I would say, 2 time periods, maybe 3 time periods where I would like to see what is going on with Darth Vader from his, like, just following him.
Hmm.
And that would be between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and in
Right.
between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Just to see, read, see whatever. It would be so interesting because those are so. He's, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, we see what he's up to in Kenobi. He's
Right.
wanting to just basically kill Kenobi, and extinguish the Jedi, and just have that power. And then in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, Obi Wan is now gone.
Right.
So what is he doing? What is he
Hmm.
doing personally? Not what is the Empire doing, but what is he doing?
Right.
And then after Empire Strikes Back, where he has that moment with Luke as his son and cuts off his hand, and the iconic I'm your father.
Hmm.
Um, what is he doing between then and the end, and before we start Return of the Jedi? What's going on
Right.
in his head? What's is he constantly wanting to throw the Emperor down the hole of death that doesn't actually
Right.
kill anybody, or is he just fighting himself over and over and over, like you were saying? So
Yeah.
he's such an interesting, complex hero slash villain. We've seen him in both the roles and
Right.
doing it well. He's a good
Yeah.
hero and a fantastic villain. Probably one of the best
I
there
love
is.
that. Yeah, I was gonna say I just love that the show really got to shed light on just how complicated the character is, because
Yeah.
I don't think it's really appreciated by the average fan of like the complications, the complexities of Vader's, behind the mask kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
so
the
I would,
complexities as well as the power of Vader.
yeah,
I don't think we have really seen how powerful he really is until now.
right, yeah,
And
absolutely,
comics aside, I don't think we've seen it on the live action screen. Like,
right,
man, this dude, like
yeah,
the fight
seeing
with
him,
Reva was probably the coolest thing I have seen in a long time, Star Wars wise.
yeah,
He was just
totally
playing, it was like a
pointless,
cat playing with a mouse.
yeah,
Just, no,
yeah,
no mercy whatsoever.
yeah.
Yeah,
There
just
was it's
incredible.
Legends now. It's not canon anymore, but there was this book called The Rise of Lord Vader,
Hmm.
and it takes place immediately after Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
And so it's a lot of the book is about just kind of Vader slash Anakin, just kind of trying to figure out how to how to exist, right, like how to exist in this state,
Yeah.
because like as Vader, he goes out and he finds this Jedi, and they end up fighting, and this Jedi almost kills Vader.
Hmm.
And it's because like Anakin slash Vader isn't used to this body yet. He's not used to like how clunky and slow and mechanical it is.
Right.
And like it's like, oh, this is hell, like like kind of a thing. Like this is like I was in my prime, 2 weeks ago, and now I'm like brought down, like I can barely, I can't do anything, kind of
Hmm.
thing. It's super interesting. Um, so I would love to see something like that kind of
Like an
not
early
not
Vader.
yeah, I don't want that story necessarily brought into canon because
Yeah.
it's kind of it's not weird or dumb or anything like that, but it's not entirely focused on Vader. So I would want like another book that's very similar to that, but it's just completely focused on Vader.
Right.
Um,
It would
but
be
yeah,
cool to get an
it's
early Vader, like a mid, like
yeah,
more following just him, not Kenobi or anyone else, and then that later Vader,
yeah,
later Vader,
later Vader. That'd be the name of the novel, Later Vader.
later Vader.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah. So just to, I guess, put a cap on everything.
yeah,
Fantastic finale.
yeah.
One of my favorite Star Wars moments, maybe since uh, the final fight. What was it called in Revenge of the Sith? It's got a name. The Anakin versus Obi Wan Kenobi.
Um, I believe that one's just called Anakin versus Obi Wan.
Okay.
Um,
Is it the song that's Duel of the Fates? Is that the same song? Duel of the Fates is the one in Phantom Menace, right? I can't remember. Battle of the Heroes. I lost Aaron again. There you are. Oh, now he's gone again. But it's called Battle of the Heroes. That's what I was trying to find out. So unless Aaron will probably come back in like 4 seconds. But Battle of the Heroes is probably my favorite fight. And then there he is. He's back.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so it's Anakin versus Obi Wan, but then there's a song called Battle of Heroes.
Yeah,
Or
it's Battle of the Heroes. I just looked it up.
Battle of the Heroes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The climactic duel between Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
yep. And then there is also Anakin's Dark Deeds, which is like immediately before Order 66 and then like during Order 66.
Mm-hmm. Now we're losing him again. No. No. Oh, he's back again.
Sign off real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great finale.
Great.
Probably again my favorite moment since the Battle of the Heroes. And yeah. It surpasses everything that's come out in forever. So since then. So
yeah. I love it. Like Mandalorian season 2 quality right there, season finale for Mandalorian season 2.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And if you liked this, then definitely, and you haven't seen Rebels yet, because for some reason there's 100 billion people who are like, I'm never gonna watch Rebels. It's too cartoony, and it's like, just go watch it. It's freaking amazing.
It's not bad at all.
You'll get it. You'll get that same experience again. And
I liked Rebels. I liked Rebels more than Clone Wars.
I like Rebels a lot more than Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Clone Wars is totally
there's
great.
more at stake. Same thing with the prequel thing. It's like we know what's going to happen to Anakin. We know what's going to happen to Obi-Wan. Ahsoka's like the only one that we don't know about, but yeah. So fantastic though. But yeah,
fantastic beasts. Where to find them? Secrets
of Dumbledore. Yeah. Such a good movie. Loved that movie. Haven't seen it, but I loved it.
The War Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yep.
Yep.
He's a criminal. He's a criminal.
You're
What are we talking about next time? Let's do a quick next time.
Do we want to talk about D&D next time? Is that what we want to do?
Yeah, we can kind of So next time we're going to talk about we're going to do a Pathfinder campaign.
Okay.
That's one of our future projects coming up. We're going to do a Pathfinder, and we're going to talk about the differences between Pathfinder and D&D. Which you will have to take the lead on that because I'm still new to D&D. So you'll know the differences.
Just talk about. I like to talk about for a few minutes. Top Gun.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about Top Gun. I need to see it, so I'll see it before then.
Yeah, because I'm having a lot of fun with Top Gun now in my life.
I think a lot of people are, man. I see a lot of those memes, but yeah, that's what we're doing next in the next couple episodes, and yeah, should be good. Thanks for listening. I've been Mitch,
and I'm Aaron.
And don't forget to say it.
Don't forget, everybody. Don't forget to tip your lifeguards.
There we go.
Bye.